Never seen a lame man walk. Never heard a dumb man talk. Never seen a blind man see. I promise you will change his name. Never seen a canceled debt. Never seen all the poor get fed. Never seen a prisoner set free. I promise you will change his name.
Isn't it?
Hey, it is time once again for your best friends. That's right. It's me, Bigger T, joined always by Big C, Clint. Clark, how you doing, Clint?
Boy, not very well.
Not very well.
But that's all right. We'll get to that later. But you know what? I'm happy. I'm happy. Had a bad day yesterday. We'll get to that. I'm over it. Took that experience. I flushed it down the toilet. I'm happy again. Because I'm here
right now. People are joining us, Clint, on the Big C and Bigger T podcast. I didn't even say our name at the beginning. It's the Big C, Bigger T podcast, the one you know and love. Two best friends from way back, sitting and talking sports and whatever else we get together to talk about. And listen, Clint, this may be just a week of just a bad week. Now I know your story. We're going to talk about it in just a second.
Yeah.
I've been kind of feeling sickly all last week.
Right.
Yeah, and I've been kind of just hanging out in the house and stuff, and then finally get out and do some things, run some errands, and I run over something, get a flat.
Oh no.
Yeah. Thankfully it was in the evening, so it wasn't too daggum hot to change the spare. But anyway, so gotta get me some new tires, or at least a couple new tires. So.
Did you have something in it, or was it just wear?
Now I ran over something. I don't know what it was. Like there was a piece of tire on the side of the road, and I kind of swerved to get away from it, but then something else hit my back tire, and I heard it kind of bounce around. Yeah. Next thing I know, my sensor's telling me that air's going down, and so I'm like, well, maybe I can make it home. Yeah. And then I rolled my window down. I started listening for that, boop, 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 and sure enough, I started hearing it. So I pulled over before it got on its rim.
Yeah,
anyway, you had a rough day yesterday.
Oh, well, let's talk about that. You make me go. Now, I don't like talking about my profession on here.
Yeah.
So because it's like that's that, and this is that. So, and this is this, whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah, gotcha.
But have we really got to the point in society where we need something to tell us we have a flat tire? Yeah. Goodness gracious, man. We lived how many years without that? I mean, that thing came around about 2007. Like when I was a young dude, I was 16. The only thing I had to tell me if a tire was low was my foot. I'd go kick it.
That's right.
And it's kind of like picking out a watermelon. You thump it, you kick it. That's how
I have a good story. I was in Culiacan, Mexico, and they gave us these little rental cars we were driving. And I was having to drive one, and which driving in a city in Mexico, hey, especially when you're in a car that you don't fit in very well. I was in a Chevy Cruze.
Oh, I'm very familiar with that. Yeah.
But these were the early ones, so it was just very tiny, right? And so I get in it. We're driving down the road, and I was like, something feels weird. And all of a sudden, we're at an intersection, and this little Mexican guy comes running up to me, going, and I was like, "What's he doing?" And he's like, "Oh, we must have a flat." And so we got out. Sure enough, we have a flat. So I guess the international sign for flat tire. So if someone doesn't have a
gators,
someone doesn't have a sensor, just run up beside them. That's all you need.
I remember being in high school, and I had a flat on my whip, as the kids would say.
Your whip, yeah.
A whip.
Which whip was it?
God, I think it was the brown truck.
Oh, sweet.
It had the mix match door.
Yeah.
So yeah, had a flat, put the spare on there, and of course, also flat. But not as flat as my actual tire, so I was able to get the gas tank and air in it. But yeah, that's my luck. It was so dry rotted.
Yeah,
it was like it probably hadn't been on the ground in like since '74.
Yeah. Well, Clint, tell us about your day yesterday, bud.
Man, I bragged about winning the Arkansas Open, so I was like, I'll try my luck in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Did not go very well in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Living on Tulsa.
A little Don Williams for you. Cost me $8 on the Muskogee Turnpike. Yeah, they got them tolls there.
Yeah,
pay cash, so I had to go by the ATM just so I'd have cash to pay tolls.
Yeah.
So no, I didn't go very well. I'd love to say I was disappointed just in how I did. I was kind of like, man, nothing I was doing was working. And I told the guy that beat me, I said, I got beat by two guys. But I told the second one to beat me, I said, you know what? I'm taking away from what you did. I'm sorry. Didn't mean to. You did a heck of a job. He's like, no, I get it. You can give the other guy credit while still being upset with yourself. It's fine. And so, but two great guys. But that's not what grind. I can take losing. I've lost before.
Yeah.
I've lost like library club president because of you.
Yeah.
Not that I'm still bitter and bringing it up
You're not bitter
years later, but I'm very, very bitter.
That library club was.
There's tension every week on this podcast, and we're not talking about it enough. Greenbrier Library Club.
That's right.
Could you imagine if I was actually still salty about
we need to go to couple counseling for that.
I was like, look, I'm going to tell you right now. Back in 1993, Travis Johnson,
which I just stole it from you because I took votes away.
Yeah,
I didn't win it.
No, neither one of us won it. But I had that thing in the bag until you decided you wanted it.
And to say that I ran for every office in Library Club and finally won reporter, which no one knew what reporters did.
I don't even know. It's not. Okay, is there a more useless thing in the world than an officer in a high school club?
Exactly.
Is it? I mean, like it inflates your ego so much.
Yeah.
We're off on a tangent, but that's what we do. But I mean, like literally think about that. We're like, I'm the reporter, I'm the president of the library club. I mean, you're not making any real decisions.
Yeah.
I mean, you're an officer in a stupid high school club.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
Anyway,
enough on that.
Senior class vice treasurer right here. Or vice president. I can't remember what I was.
Yeah, we were something. I was an officer as well. We still would have won the battle of the books if they would have let me compete.
That's right.
That I will stand by to the day I die.
Yes, sir.
I agree. And I think because I'm a cesspool of useless information.
Cesspool.
So anyway, so I've lost. I've lost before. Lost football games. Lost jiu-jitsu matches. I'm fine. So I'm in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and I've been talking about going to the Cheesecake Factory and getting some cheesecake the entire time. Literally, the drive up there, I'm like, look, we're going to Cheesecake Factory. I'm going to get me some cheesecake.
And you deserve a reward.
I deserve a reward. I train hard. I eat
hard. It didn't go so well. So you need to pick me up, something that'll just liven your spirits, and cheesecake will do that for a
So I go to, and normally when I have a bad experience, I don't call the establishment out. I'm so salty. I'm calling out Cheesecake Factory, or like dozens of listeners may boycott your restaurant.
It can happen, Cheesecake Factory.
Then the dozens
got to talk bad about you.
But you brought this on yourself.
You deserve it, Cheesecake Factory.
Yeah, so
it's the Holy Snikes moment of the week.
Yeah, on the big
so take that, Cheesecake Factory.
On Spotify, on Apple Podcast, we're everywhere.
On
Farmers Only,
wherever. Just get ready, Cheesecake.
Okay, so back to the story. So I go to I drive over there. It's in a mall. Like there's a mall over here, and Cheesecake Factory's over here. And it's like a busy mall, so it's like I don't know when to go. Like pulling in there is it's just a parade. Hope it goes well. And so I make it in there miraculously. I park. It's like 107 degrees in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Yeah,
I don't know when Tulsa, Oklahoma got so freaking hot, but it was hot.
Yeah,
So I'm in there. I'm like, all right. I look at the cheesecake. They got the little pantry, and it's like it just looks delicious. I'm like, okay, these have sprinkles. I can't have those. Those are for winners. So I'm down on the bottom shelf. I pick out.
No sprinkles for you.
Yeah, like no, I do whatever I do. Do not give me one with sprinkles.
Right.
So I pick out my cheesecake. I pay for my cheesecake. It says a tip. I'm like, I don't know why I'm tipping you because all you're doing is literally handing my cheesecake.
Yeah.
But I tip anyway because it asked.
Yeah.
So then they tell me like they're out of the cheesecake I picked.
What?
Which is fine. It's fine. So I go because they have like a dozen other there.
Okay, they got more cheesecake.
Yeah, I'm like, okay. I'm like, it's a lost opportunity, but it's kind of like when God closes the door, he opens a window.
That's right.
Same as the analogy's solid.
Yeah, works.
And so I go, okay, give me that one. They go, great. So I have 3 other people with me. We're all buying cheesecake.
Mm.
So I go in the lobby. There's one other lady waiting in the lobby. I sit on the bench way down from her. There's probably a good 4 or 5 feet between us. And I open my to-go container and I sit there and I start eating my cheesecake.
Yeah.
In the lobby of the Cheesecake Factory.
Yeah.
And the lady's like, tell him he can't eat that in here.
Probably, probably. I'm thinking if you're the second most likely place a piece of cheesecake from Cheesecake Factory should be consumed.
Right. Yes. I mean, I guess ideally I should have got one to a table, but I'm like, I'm just eating and I'm just going to eat. I wasn't going to eat the entire thing because you know what? I eat a pretty healthy diet and I'm about to be driving for 3 hours with people in the vehicle. Probably not best to have a lot of sweets and dairy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm being considerate to others.
You're a considerate fellow.
If I was by myself, I'd have probably ate the whole thing and just whatever happened.
Yeah. Yeah.
It'd be like that one episode of this podcast where I'd be like, I gotta go.
That's right.
But yeah, they were like, no, tell him he can't eat that here.
The customer said that?
The lady behind the counter told the people I was with, like, tell him to stop eating it. I'm like, okay. I mean, like, which I ate about all I wanted to eat anyway, but it still was like, is this not America? Is this not home of the free? That I can't eat my cheesecake in the lobby of the Cheesecake Factory. I mean, I made a Facebook status about this. I'm like, this is just, it's un-American.
Okay, Clint. First of all,
yes,
I'm sorry they were mean to you.
They were very mean.
But I do have some questions to ask because I know.
Okay, sure.
First of all, were you wearing pants?
I was wearing cargo shorts.
Okay, because if you weren't wearing pants, I can understand.
Right, yeah.
It's more than just about eating the cheesecake.
No, yeah. No, I was wearing.
Were you wearing a shirt?
I was actually wearing my Chris Farley shirt.
Okay, so you were wearing a classy shirt.
Yeah, classy shirt.
Classy shirt.
It says, hey.
Were you okay? And listen, Clint, I know from where you had just came from.
Yeah.
You had just gotten beat.
Yeah, twice.
Once
really bad. Second time was bad. Once was ugly. I ain't gonna lie about it. It was ugly.
Were you weeping loudly in the corner over your cheesecake?
I was sobbing a little. She's the old like man, he can't.
Rear naked choke.
He foot slapped me like 10 seconds. No, he's like he's gotta leave. He's depressing the other customers.
Now we joke, you wasn't crying.
I wasn't crying, but
Cheesecake Factory, you're on notice.
You're on the list.
The army.
Still a bit Chris Jericho.
That is the Big C Bigger T podcast.
The first business we've ever run down on this podcast. This is America. This is the land of the free.
That's right.
And so
I normally don't believe in boycotts, but I believe in this one. Because my
I'll
man,
be honest with you, I'll go back to the Cheesecake Factory next time in Mendoza and get more cheesecake. I don't care. I think it was I thought it was funny that they were like, he can't eat that in here.
yeah,
And so I've had some fun with it, but I still I came home and I asked Anna, because look, man, I'm raised in Greenboro, Arkansas. I'm a hillbilly.
yeah.
I'll admit it. I'm redneck and I'm a hillbilly when it comes to things. And I'm like, okay, is this me or is this them?
Yeah.
Am I wrong here?
Yeah, that's a weird kind of rule.
Yeah, that's weird. But apparently you cannot eat cheesecake in the lobby of the Cheesecake Factory.
Okay.
No.
Now we know. Now we know.
Yeah. If you don't know, now you know.
Now you know. And no one,
that's not one of them.
and Clint, no one is half the battle.
Yeah. Now we know.
According to G.I. Joe.
Yeah.
Now, Clint, today, the last couple of days have been big days for some Razorback athletes.
Yeah.
Especially baseball players. No, I'm not just talking about Andrew Benintendi making the All-Star game.
That's awesome, though.
Which is awesome. But it's the Major League Baseball draft. And some of our boys, I say our boys, the Razorback baseball team that we've been proud of this year, that we enjoyed watching, that did such a great job entertaining us, especially down the line there as they made it to Omaha. They're about to get rich.
They are. They're making some money. Definitely going to make some money.
You
Including,
got a list there, don't you? Of the
I do. And let's go to who got drafted on day one, which I remember the first one was fellow Worcester Knight. I don't know if that's Worcester.
Yeah, whatever.
Worcester native was Caden Wallace, selected at 49th overall by Kansas City, which, is crazy to think a kid that grew up, that close to us.
On the mean streets of Worcester.
On the main streets of Worcester.
That's right.
He probably been to the Worcester store.
Many times.
Many times.
He's probably, I bet he's washed his truck off at the Worcester car wash. Yeah. It's the Good Times car wash plant.
I'm going to bet at some point in his life, he met Bob Stubbs.
More than likely.
Yeah.
More than likely.
More than likely.
Well, that's so proud for Caden. And it was so neat to see. I saw someone put on a Facebook or whatever, a picture of a TV screen, and it said Caden Wallace, Worcester, Arkansas. It didn't say Greenbrier, which Greenbrier is the school he went to. So it's a natural thing for him to put Greenbrier a lot of times when they talk about him.
Right. Yeah.
I thought it was so cool for him to see Worcester on national TV like that, advertising a guy making it big. And that'll be neat, because there'll be a lot of Arkansas fans, especially Northwest Arkansas, go to Kansas City a lot and watch games, especially with Benintendi there.
Well, and they're saying, and I was going to say this earlier when you were talking to him, but you were talking so fast, I can't get a word in edgewise. I'm sorry. It's that resentment from the library thing coming in again. I'm sorry. I know the therapist said this was unhealthy for you.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm like an archaeologist digging up the past.
That's right.
He probably won't be in Kansas City much longer. He's a free agent after this year, all-star. There's a lot of teams that are looking at acquiring his services because he's having such a good year, and it's going to be a big money year for him. And Kansas City's not going to pay him.
And who knows how long it'll take Caden to get up there too.
Yeah. And who knows, he may be traded him back to Kansas City, but But Benintendi, they're saying like the Yankees had interest, but he's unvaccinated, so he can't go to Canada. And that's about all I want to talk about, the vaccines. But but anyway, neither here nor there. I'm not talking about it. So so Caden Wallace, 49th overall to Kansas City. And then at 62nd, Peyton Paulette went to the Chicago White Sox. And if you had asked us, who did you think the second player to be drafted off the Arkansas roster? He of course, he didn't pitch this year.
No.
Tommy John surgery. So that was a guy that you probably hoped to have in the lineup. Not going to happen.
Well, but he's coming off that Tommy John surgery, and a lot of guys that come off that had good stuff before are even better after. Okay, Kevin Pops, for example. And so Major League Baseball is ready to get that bionic arm going because he's going to have about 10 years of throwing some heat. So that's good for him. Decent franchise, not the top notch, but not horrible by any means.
Oh no! And then at 72nd overall in the second round was Robert Moore.
Went to the Brew Crew.
Yeah, and obviously, killer glove, great glove. Really, I thought he regressed as a batter this year, and I think a lot of people. But and he hasn't been drafted yet because he was a true freshman this year. But like Hagen Smith is they're saying he was like the highest rated prospect out of all our pitchers.
Yeah.
Like they think he has the most, and we wouldn't think of him as a first round pick.
Yeah.
After this year, but yeah. So
now Robert, that'll be good for him. Brewers have improved. Fellow Arkansan Jonathan Davis is up there, former UCA player.
Now this is in the I can't remember. I don't see who I got this article from, or I would credit them. But Arkansas was one of 5 college programs with the nation leading 3 players selected on Sunday. Florida, Oklahoma, Oregon State, and Tennessee all had 3 players.
Wow.
The first day of the
round.
That's good. That says a lot about the program that Dave Van Horn has, that he has that many. But I don't know how many days. I mean, the baseball draft has about 88 rounds.
Yeah, something like that.
No, I don't know, but they have a lot of rounds.
Yeah.
Of course, now they did reform, the minor league system. So I know there's less teams now. So I don't know if it still has as many, but I know they do have a lot of rounds.
Who do you have next on that list?
All right. Now, not an actual Arkansas Razorback, but Jordan Sprinkle, who was probably the lead. He was a transfer coming in from UC Santa Barbara. He was selected 131st overall by the Chicago White Sox.
Wow.
That slot for that pick is $452,000.
Okay.
So that's stop and think about it money.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
For sure. Jalen Battles was selected in the 5th round, 164th overall by the Tampa Bay Devil Rays with a value of $328,000.
Tampa Bay, that's a good squad.
Yeah. Then the Red Sox selected Caleb Bolden. He spent 4 years with the Razorbacks before transferring to TCU, so he actually played for TCU this year. He got selected. He got selected by the Red Sox. It does not say the round, but they did say he came to Arkansas despite being selected in the 16th round out of high school.
Wow.
Then Evan Taylor and Connor Nolan got drafted back to back. In the 9th round, the Miami Marlins picking up Taylor, and Connor Nolan going to the Chicago White Sox. They said the slots for Taylor is $165,000, and the slots for Connor Nolan is $164,000. And now,
are you surprised?
I want us to remember. I want us to circle back to being drafted where Evan Taylor and Connor Nolan are. Okay. The White Sox then selected Michael Turner, and I'm thinking of Philadelphia. Yeah, on the not. I think appearing on our podcast probably got him. I think he was slated for the 11th, and we got him a 2.
That's right.
2-round bump.
That's right.
but that is good money. He's slotted at 158.
Nice.
158. And then Zebulon Vermillion, the greatest name in all the sports, was selected in the 10th round, 299th overall for $152,000. And I think that's it for the day. But
White Sox Razorback fans or what?
well, in Kansas City, I thought, man, he watched a lot of Arkansas games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They only picked up one player, that's what, 4 going to the White Sox.
I wasn't counting them, but no, you're probably pretty close to being right.
Well, Paulette, Connor Nolan, Turner, and someone else.
Connor Nolan got drafted by the Cubs.
Oh, okay, Cubs. I thought you said White Sox.
Yeah, I've clicked off the article now, so I'm sorry. Our memory's all we got to go by. Now, them guys. Now, and I said let's circle back around to Taylor and Nolan, because there's a lot of rumors that Connor Nolan's coming back.
Yeah,
that he's going to come back. He's got his COVID year. Okay. He's slotted for $154,000.
Yeah,
it was 190, but it wasn't. I mean, it's great money, but it's not. Wouldn't call it generational money.
No.
Now, here's where NIL changes the game.
Yeah.
I mean, Caden Wallace is a millionaire. Caden Wallace is gone. Congratulations, Caden. You've changed yours and your family's life forever with your talent.
Yeah.
I would say the same thing to all them guys, Jalen Battles. They're not quite, changed everything, but they're making good money.
Yeah.
They're gone. But when you get to that 9th round where it's like you're in the hundreds of $1,000s.
Yeah.
They can probably come really close to making that up in NIL.
Well, the other thing about Connor Nolan is Connor has to decide if he wants his future to be baseball, or if it's going to be some other degree he gets.
Yeah.
And they say that's what the big draw is for him right now. Like, he wants to see where he wants to go. He wanted to see where he would go in the MLB draft, but he also is trying to decide, because he is an older guy. He's coming into it. He's not, Caden Wallace is only 21.
Right.
Connor Nolan's a couple years older than that, I think.
Yeah.
Connor Nolan. And so he's trying to decide, would it be better for me to come back for a year, have another year, I can get NIL money, I can be the best pitcher on the team, and I can finish up my graduate degree, and then I can go in the draft again. If it works out, great. If not, I got my graduate degree done, and I can go off to another, whatever my career is going to be. But I take the money and run right now.
Well, but like, let's say it's traditional. It's a 3rd-year junior coming in. I can either come back for my senior year, or I can take this 9th round slot.
Yeah.
Okay, it depends. Do you want to bet on myself or not?
Yeah.
If you bet on yourself, it's not like and I think that parachute's a little bit better because they can kind of make it up in NIL money now.
Yeah.
We're like, okay, yeah, I'm not really risking that much, because worst case scenario, I'll drop a few rounds and I'll sign for less money, but at least I've made up for that income in NIL money.
Yeah.
I think people are going to pause, especially in them later slots. You won't see them just jumping on the exit train.
Yeah.
On the first train out of town, just because of that. And that's where I'm at with it. I think so.
Well, and a couple things, don't be surprised if you see Caden Wallace in the outfield as a pro. And also don't be surprised if you see Michael Turner playing one of the corner positions, probably like a third base.
Yeah.
Not saying he will, but just listening to some people talking about the draft beforehand, those are possibilities.
Well, they're going to put them wherever they think they give them the best chance to win.
That's right.
And and I think it was Dave Van Horn that said the pros were projecting Caden Wallace as a center fielder.
Yeah.
He's got great speed, got a good glove. He's going to help a team. He's a pure hitter, and
he'll be somewhere for sure.
Yeah, I think we will see him playing in big stadiums.
I hope so.
I really do. I think it's kind of cool now that you see. You're flipping the channels through baseball games to see Ryan Stanek pitching. You start names that you remember, Benintendi, guys that you remember playing in a Razorback uniform.
Yeah.
And that's pretty, because it used to be we had Tom Pagnozzi and Kevin McReynolds, and now it's like Arkansas baseball's become
littered all over. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, okay, you kind of feel like watching MLB, I don't want to say Alabama in football, but you're well represented.
All right. Now, Clint, there's also something else that's been going on in Razorback sports. Well, connected to the Razorbacks.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
it's been a basketball tournament that started. What's this tournament? It's called?
The TBT. It's called the basketball tournament.
The basketball tournament. And I guess they got these teams from different states, or they're connected to different states or whatever. And there's a team Arkansas. And I happened to watch a game the other day. And here's the roster. We got Sonny Weems, Courtney Fortson, Hunter Mickelson, Dusty Hannas, which is kind of weird because Dusty Hannas playing on some G League stuff too right now. Like, yeah, I think he's going back and forth.
Well, a couple years ago, Joe Johnson played in it.
Did he really?
For like some overseas elite or something like that. It wasn't even.
Karan Ross. I'm not sure. I'm not sure who he's connected to. Spencer Reeves, Jalen Barford, Jimmy Witt, Jacob Lawrence, Chris Coffey, CJ Jones, and Trey Wade.
Okay.
I remember most of them.
I recognize quite a few names on there.
Yeah. Interesting roster is, when I was watching it the other day, Hunter Mickelson was playing a lot. Something we didn't see a lot from him when he played for the Hogs.
Yeah.
They had Courtney Fortson, Jalen Barford, Jimmy Witt on the floor at the same time. This Chris Coffey is a good-looking player. He's a big guy. Their first game, Courtney Fortson hit a dagger, ice water in his veins. Now, he was wide open, but hit a beautiful three off a screen, just drilled it for the game winner. And then the second game, I didn't see it, but I heard Coffey hit a game winner on it. Yeah. And so they made it to the third round. Now, in this tournament, do they get something like $1 million for the winner?
It's either I think it's $1 million split amongst the team.
And I think some of them are doing it for a charity.
Yeah.
And some of them can keep the money.
Right. Yeah. I wouldn't think, of course, people go broke that have a lot of money, but you wouldn't think Joe Johnson needed the money.
No.
I'm sure a lot of them are sponsored, but there's some guys that probably need the money. Now, how did Courtney Fortson look like out there with the
Courtney Fortson, man?
Hard to get along with?
He'd drive in and get hit and bounce off somebody and throw something up left-handed, get fouled or make it or whatever. I mean, it was just he was running the ball. Jimmy Witt shooting his jumpers, inside the 3-point line. Looked good. He was playing hard. I always liked Jimmy Witt's game.
Yeah. I watch it quite a bit on TV because it comes on just when there's not a lot on. It kind of plays, so I'll watch it sometimes. Now, but Arkansas, this seems like this is the best team Arkansas's had. They're usually gone by the time it starts really playing on ESPN.
Really?
Now you said, we were talking a little bit about this for the podcast, you don't really get the ending. Because I was curious I was going to ask you what you thought the ending, because the way they do the ending is called the Elam rules. And I did use my one Google podcast because I couldn't remember Elam rules. So the Elam rules, basically they get to the 3-minute mark, I think.
Yeah.
Because honestly, the last 3 minutes of basketball game can become almost unwatchable.
Yeah.
It really can. It just it comes to a free throw contest.
Yeah.
And it's annoying and annoys all the viewers. So they're like, hey, we're going to make the game more exciting. So at the 3-minute mark, like let's say me and you're playing and I'm up 65 and you're at 60.
Yeah.
We'll say, okay, the final score should be 80. So then at that point, we're playing first 1 to 80 wins. Like it doesn't matter if me and you go cold, then we play another 3 hours. Or if it don't matter if if I'm up, I go down there and hit 5 threes in a row and end. It does not matter. And by the way, I just did math right there, kids. As I said, I had 65. We're playing to 80. 3 times 5, 15.
Way to go.
Arkansas.
That's weird, man. That's weird. It's kind of neat.
It is neat. And it really is. It speeds up the game because, and then you have to go on, you have to, win on a make.
Yeah.
You just can't dribble it out. You have to keep playing.
Yeah.
And I like it. No, they're never going to, NCAA is never going to sit back. Hey, you know what? Let's scrap tradition. You think people are fired up about conference realignment and NIL and all that? You changed the college basketball rules to the Elam rule. People would be so spicy.
Yeah, for sure, man.
They would act like you playing games against other Arkansas schools.
Yeah.
Spicy.
Spicy.
You realize somebody was once a crotchety old man like you that's like, I don't know about this 3-point line.
Yeah, it probably would have been me.
It would have been you. Like 10 good kids with their 3-pointers.
That's right.
And their saggy shorts.
That's right. That's right. Well, Clint, and then of course, we got some. We don't have stats for this, but our former basketball players are doing well in the NBA.
Right. Apparently, Isaiah Joe and Moses Moody are showing out. They're
showing out.
Mm-hmm.
Moses Moody's had some good games. Jalen Williams has had some quality games with him.
Moody had a good game. I saw he scored 13 the other night.
Moody. Oh yeah. Moody's having some really good games.
Yeah, I saw.
And then Note's had some decent, like he's for a rookie, he's flashing. He's flashing good.
Well, and I think a lot of these guys that like your Stanley Moody's, your JD Note's, I think they're playing to get on a G League team. I really do. I think obviously Moses Moody's going to be, in best case scenario, some of these guys can hopefully secure 2-way contracts.
Yeah,
where they can, really do that. But
well, Clint, we're gonna shorten up today, but to wrap it up, what you been watching, man?
I'm happy you asked because I have been on a Gordon Ramsay kick.
Oh yeah.
I started watching Master Chef.
Yeah.
Just the last season. I haven't gone back to the beginning because there's like 15 seasons of it. I'm like, oh, this is interesting. And so I literally like in 2 days watched the entire season of Master Chef.
Yeah.
They did this. I'm like, first off, how many cooking shows does Gordon Ramsay have?
Yeah.
I mean, like I can think of like 6 shows off the top of my head.
Yeah.
That he has. Yeah, I mean, what? There's Master Chef Junior, Gordon Ramsay's Kitchen Nightmares, 24 Hours to Hell and Back, Next Level Chef, Hell's Kitchen. I think he did a hotel show at one point.
Yeah, he did, I think. Yeah.
Gordon, it's okay to turn stuff down, buddy.
That's right.
You don't have to say yes to every project.
Leave something for somebody else.
Yeah. Look, Guy Fieri needs work.
That's right. Now, he's got a bunch too.
Yeah, maybe Robert Irvine, somebody. I don't know. Give another chef a chance.
That's right.
So I finished Master Chef. Then I watched Next Level Chef, which was an interesting show. It was a very interesting concept. Yeah, and
it's the one with the different 3 levels.
Got 3 levels. One of them's like ghetto kitchen.
Yeah.
Other ones like restaurant quality, and the top one's like the nicest kitchen.
Yeah.
And then you kind of go up and down, and they taste all your dishes.
Yeah.
Then they rip you apart, or talk good about you. And then I watched the season of Hell's Kitchen. Like literally, I've watched like the last week or two. I've watched 3 full seasons of Gordon Ramsay show. I did go back and watch and verbally review Stephen Vellick because I had spare time.
Yeah, Stephen Vellick's a high school buddy of ours.
Yeah.
If you've seen that 24 Hours to Hell and Back, he was part owner of Bears in Conway, Arkansas. And so, Stephen didn't look too good on there, but Stephen's one of the best guys in the world. So,
Stephen even posted, he goes, watching me get ripped apart by Gordon Ramsay on TV in the name of capitalism.
Yeah, that's right.
But I mean, I've been watching just a ton of those shows. I had broccoli the other night that had a Tuscan flavor on it.
Yeah.
And then I had like a chicken teriyaki breast. I told Anna, I said, look, I have an Italian, Japanese fusion here. I've taken 2 things and fused them together.
Yeah.
And she's like, you're an idiot. I'm like,
well, I've also been watching some cooking shows.
Oh.
I've been watching some new and some old, but one of the ones that's kind of new, but had some recent episodes is the Tournament of Champions with Guy Fieri.
Okay.
Have you seen it?
I have not.
He takes like the best chefs.
Yeah.
In fact, I think Gordon Ramsay was a judge on one season of it, or for an episode or 2.
Oh, I'm sure it was.
No, it wasn't Gordon Ramsay. It was someone else. It wasn't Gordon. Anyway, because he does other networks. But anyway, and they compete against each other in like tournament style. Like it's a bracket, and they, like they seed them 1 to 8 on each side of the bracket, and then they compete against each other, and then there's one winner. And they it's really cool, man. They got this deal called the randomizer, and it's like it gives you your protein, like a side, like a vegetable or whatever you got to use. It's got it'll tell you some cooking utensil you have to use, and they'll come up with some weird things.
Oh wow, yeah.
Just some weird stuff you got to incorporate into it, and then how long you do it or something. And so and then the style of meal it is. So if it's like a diner breakfast or whatever. Anyway, it's a really neat show. If you hadn't watched it, it's another good one to watch. And then I've also watched some old episodes of Cutthroat Kitchen. You remember that one?
Oh yeah, I remember that. I don't remember it, but I remember it.
They the chefs had to compete, and they get so much money. They get $25,000, but then they can buy things to try to sabotage their other people they're against.
Okay.
So like this one guy, I was watching one recently that he had to cook everything in a metal wine glass. Like he had to do all his cooking in that metal wine glass. And then another one I saw had these 3 guys, like one person won the bid, and their other 3 competitors had to share. They were making omelets, and they had to share one frying pan. So they had to do all their cooking, 3 guys, 20 minutes to make an omelet, and they had to share one frying pan to do it in.
It's crazy.
Yeah. And they do just some weird stuff. And then, but the judge, they don't tell the judge what the things were, like the hardships they had.
Mm-hmm.
They just have to, and like for that one, none of them made a good omelet. Like it all turned out as just a breakfast crumble, just like scrambled eggs and sausage and vegetables and stuff. But the judge didn't know. She just had to judge it according to what she was told it was supposed to be. And so anyway, it's a pretty fun show to watch some old episodes of if you ever get a chance.
Oh no, I definitely check it. You know, I know you said we're going to wrap it up because we went long last week. I mean, we went long, but you know what? It felt like 10 minutes to me.
Yeah,
it really did. I mean, you've talked about it. I mean, you've got a lot of feedback from our regular listeners. That you got some good feedback on our interview with Coach Mullins last week.
Yeah. And folks, if you haven't yet, go back and listen to Coach Mullins, that episode, watch it, whatever. It's just a great episode. You get to this Clint's old football coach from Arkansas Tech. He was a long time coach there, talking about what it took for them to win the Gulf South Championship back in '99, and just we talked about the future of college football and what the present of college football is doing to smaller schools and stuff like that. Yeah. He just is a really good voice on all that stuff. So go check that out. And then Clint, here in a few minutes, we're going to record another podcast. We're going to interview.
We are.
And if you've never heard of the Village Academy prank, you're going to need to pay attention to, well, I don't know when we're going to put it out yet, but we're going to interview Coach Gary Crowder. He was a former Jessieville High School ladies basketball coach and OBU ladies basketball coach. A great coach, had over 700 wins in his career. He pulled a prank on the state newspapers in the 80s and made up a school. Okay. That's all I'm going to tell you about it. But he carried the prank on for like 4 years and got it reported about every week. Yeah. It's going to be a cool story.
I'm looking forward to having the conversation.
It's kind of one of those, if you go to what's that group that sells t-shirts in Little Rock City?
Rock City Outfielders, yeah.
They sell shirts that say Village Academy. It's kind of a known joke. Hootens did a story on it on the 30th anniversary in 2017, I think, something like that. But Coach Crowder's agreed to come on and talk about it. He's excited to talk about it. He just had so much fun doing it. It was a prank, but it wasn't a mean prank. There's
no victims.
And so I promise you may not recognize him. You may not recognize his name, just like you may not recognize Steve Mullins' name. But I promise you, we're getting these people on here because they're interesting. And the Steve Mullins episode, if you know that some of the people I got feedback from didn't really know him, or they may have heard from him, and they said that was just an awesome episode. And I think this Gary Crowder one's going to be also. So pay attention to that. Once again, like, share, let people know about the Big C, Bigger T podcast because they needs to know.
Yeah. And that Mullins one was fun for me because I got to see a lot of stuff or hear a lot of things when he had nothing on the line from his perspective.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, what was it like for you to basically have no spring and basically have somebody else's coaches and somebody else's players and be like, here, good luck.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
that was fun.
It was good.
It was good. Like, share, subscribe. Ladies, Travis's DM still open. Jump in there.
That's right. Jump in there. All right, y'all. Thank y'all so much. We thank you so much for listening. Clint, you the man. Have a good week. Be nice to each other out there, people. And hey, eat your cheesecake wherever you want to.
Merc.
That's your cheesecake. Cheesecake Factory.
Cheesecake.
Sweat, work, filthy, dirt, harvest, hurt, kingdom come. Sweat, work, filthy, dirt, harvest, hurt, kingdom come. Listen, that's why I sweat when I work. My hands get filthy down in this dirt. Won't see no harvest till I hurt. Crying your kingdom come. Listen. if I don't, ain't nothing gonna change.